So I'm down in Loranger, right? Childhood home. Humidity thicker than gravy at Mama's on Sunday. And this dog, Bubba, not mine, belongs to the Dufresneys next door. Bless their hearts, Bubba ate a whole box of dryer sheets. Like the entire box. And I'm talking Bounce Fresh Linen scent, the works. Now, picture this. This mutt is shitting Bubbles for a week. Bubbles, I tell you, like a damn cartoon dog. Have you ever see anything so absurd? Makes you think, what else is out there? You know? Which reminds me, Mark Norman, that the little gremlin comedian, he's always trying to get you to do acid on the podcast, hard pass. I ain't losing my mind for content, brother. Now, I have done shrooms back in 2019, Salt Lake City with Bert Kreischer, Ari Shafir, Rena Zizi, and that lovable weirdo, O'Neill. And of course, Mark was there, probably plotting something nefarious because that hot tub afterwards. Let's just say a bunch of us got a rash. Yeah. Not me, though. I was immune, like a cockroach after a nuclear war. Everybody else was itching like they'd been rolling around in poison ivy. Turns out I had a UTI, which I somehow transferred via hot tub, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Science ain't my strong suit. You just get to the peeing discomfort after a while, but transferring it through the water is insane. In that last night, everyone's eating mushrooms. And Mark, God love him, was just appearing like a friggin' ninja. 1 minute you're talking about podcasts, the next he's right there giggling like a toddler who just discovered his own toes. Michelle Wolf told me he was like a cat at Bonnaroo, showing up for a quick pet, then vanishing into the ether only to resurface later. I remember that at the cell, he'd show up, and if you ask him too many questions, he'd bolt like a scared rabbit. He's a bodega cat, man. You get a few head scratches in, then he's gone. Off to spray on something, probably smelling like iced coffee and cigarettes. The sophisticated scent of a New York comedian. And the hot tub thing, I swear that Airbnb probably hadn't seen a good scrub since the Reagan administration. I bet it had hosted 6 drunk, sweaty comedians. Maybe even a bachelor party gone wrong. Honestly, now I'm just sitting here thinking of all the hot tub shenanigans that could have happened in that tub. But hey, got to be happy for the moment, right? Like seeing Bubba the dryer sheet shitting dog, just got to take it all in because life, like a poorly maintained hot tub is full of surprises and probably a few unidentifiable rashes. So let's talk about editing. All right, all right. Get around, you beautiful swamp creatures. Theo Vaughn here. Love and unleashed. You know, growing up in Louisiana, we didn't have much, but we had mosquitoes the size of hummingbirds and a grandma who could skin a squirrel faster than you can say. Bless your heart. Speaking of squirrels, reminds me of this one time Papa, God rest his soul, probably arguing with St. Peter about the best way to fry catfish. Papa swore he saw a squirrel wearing a tiny hat like a goddamn Beatrix Potter character gone wild. He tried to catch it, spent 3 days chasing that little varmint through the bayou, ended up knee-deep in mud, covered in mosquito bites, and mumbling about squirrel society. It was a whole thing, a real existential crisis for Papa. But, you know, now that I think about it, that squirrel's kind of like the economy these days. You're chasing it, never going to catch it, and end up knee-deep in something you don't want to be in. And you know what else is like chasing a squirrel wearing a tiny hat? Trying to figure out what the hell's going on in the world right now. Like this whole AI thing, folks are building robots that can write poems, play chess, and probably do your taxes better than your accountant. But can they skin a squirrel? Can they tell the difference between a coon ass and a Cajun? Can they understand the soul-crushing weight of a Saints loss on a Sunday afternoon? I reckon not, and that's why I say we got to hold on to the things that make us human, the things that make us weird, the things that make us Papa chasing a hat-wearing squirrel levels of strange, because if we don't, we're all going to end up just like those damn robots spouting out information but lacking any real heart, any real soul, any real connection to the mud and the mosquitoes and the crazy-ass squirrels of this world, and that's about as sad as crawfish with no spice, just bland and utterly disappointing, all right? All right, Bridgeport, bunch of pale faces showed up. Bless your hearts, reminds me of that time Mama tried to make biscuits but used flour from 82. Tasted like drywall and regret. But hey, at least they were white, whiter than that dude's teeth over there. Probably brushes with bleach. Look at this crew, though. Seems like somebody mixed meth with a therapy session, got folks twitching like squirrels in a microwave. You know, reminds me of my cousin Skeeter after he tried to deep fry a raccoon. Pure chaos. Speaking of chaos, this one's got a vibe like a chihuahua wearing a prom dress. Just waiting to bite ankles, then this fella's yelling about something. I can't make out, like he's speaking fluent gibberish. Sounds like what my dog whispers when he's chasing his tail. Bless her heart, I feel like I'm in Tyler Perry's Nightmare. Something went down. The air feels thicker than Aunt Shirley's gravy, and people keep showing me their hands, my friends telling me stuff while on the phone. What is going on? Who in here sells fingers? And I'm up here sweating like a sinner in church, just trying to connect these swastikas. And then I gotta ask, who here just escaped from rehab? A serial killer. Coos? It's like trying to herd cats with a kazoo. But hey, we're all red on the inside, right? Just some folks are a little more ketchup than others. But honestly, I think they should put a for sale sign on this venue before more things go wrong. But you know, you guys are great. I hope you take me on the hallway. So I was back in my hometown, Loranger, right? Place smaller than my dog's attention span. And my buddy Dale, bless his heart, he's got this pet raccoon, okay? Reigned princess. Now, Princess, she's got this thing for shiny objects like my grandma and bingo night. Dale swore Princess was part human, probably had a cousin who was a possum whisperer or something. Anyway, Dale was trying to teach Princess how to fetch using my ex-girlfriend's engagement ring. Long story, don't ask. And Princess, she just buries it in the yard looking at Dale like, you idiot, I'm a raccoon, not a golden retriever with daddy issues. That's kind of like me at that comedy show in Brooklyn, you know? I thought, Theo, you're going to be real, no pandering, just pure Southern charm. Went up there thinking I was Matthew McConaughey at a poetry slam, telling jokes about, I don't know, gluten-free grits and the existential dread of a rooster bombed harder than a screen door in a hurricane. They were looking at me like Princess looking at Dale in that ring, you know. Just pure unadulterated confusion. I then realized you got to play the game, be a little touched, like someone who thinks Pokemon are real. Like how some dudes on dating apps say, I love anime, it's everywhere these days.
What's that about?
It's like finding a crawfish in a Wendy's dumpster, unexpected but some potato fascinating. Me, I ain't never dated a black lady, but I've encountered a few. If you catch my drift, felt like wrestling a bear and riding a roller coaster at the same time. Exhilarating and terrifying. But honestly, what do people talk about? Like, do they even know about Bill Cosby? Now I'm hearing that the key to being cool is loving anime, being a slightly autistic white dude. I can see it now. Autistic white dudes and black ladies should unite. It's like a weird, beautiful gumbo. The thing is, I look like the kind of fella a drunk white dude might think is safe to use the N-word around. Like, I'm holding a Confederate flag and sipping sweet tea in my soul. But then I got to be like, whoa there, partner. My wife's black, back off faster than a preacher at a strip club. Then immediately text my girl, babe, it's code red. I need affirmations of my wokeness. And it got me thinking, why is there this weirdness about black folks and swimming? My black friends tell me they just didn't grow up doing it. It feels a little like asking me to speak French. It ain't going to happen without a whole lot of awkward hand gestures and shame. It's like that whole white people can't dance thing. I got to ask my Meyer to teach me. I got some tips. You know, got to let the drums ditch your feet, hunch your spine, and loosen up. And for the love of gravy, don't look too feminine or gay. You got to straddle that line like a politician at a nudist colony. I'm telling you, it's a minefield. I always get this primal shudder around women because I respect their power. They give birth. It's unreal. I had the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck 3 times. They say it's genetic, might also be a comedian thing. Lack of oxygen early on. Maybe that explains my jokes. People always ask what I am. Iranian? Turkish? I'm too scared to do a 23andMe. I don't know. Any more surprises? But if you're going to talk about facts around women, they will not like it. I'm just saying what I saw the other day. I'm just going off what I'm seeing. They're like, screw you, I'll kill you. Like I just kicked their dog. I'm onto something big here. This is going to age like fine wine or a jar of moonshine hidden under the floorboards. Just you wait. 40 years from now, they'll be saying, damn, Theo, you were ahead of your time like a raccoon with a diamond ring and a master's degree in philosophy. Now, that's a story I'd pay to see. But, all right, settle down, you beautiful mongrels. Let me tell you about my uncle. Gary used to raise mummies down by the Piggly Wiggly. Gary swore those birds could predict the weather better than Al Roker. Said they got arthritis in their ankles before a hurricane. Real sensitive boys, the mummies. Anyway, Gary's got this trick. See, he claims he can spell any darn number with a deck of cards like a numerical David Blaine, only with more skull and less hair gel. I'm talking C-A-R-D, boom, a freaking card pops up. It's all hocus pocus and Gary smelling like old Milwaukee. And regret. Reminds me of this magic trick, where you try to spell numbers using cards, right? A simple spell a C, you get an ace. Spell T2, you get the number 2. Simple shit. But then bam, it goes sideways, like trying to parallel park a school bus full of rabid badgers during a tornado because suddenly nobody can spell. Not even the card shuffling magician himself. Folks start second guessing everything, like whether they really saw Bigfoot or just had too much of Aunt Shirley's prune wine. 4 becomes a linguistic nightmare, 6 transforms into an existential crisis, and by the time we get to 10, the whole dang room is questioning the very fabric of reality. You start wondering if maybe we're all just figments of some cosmic hillbilly's imagination, sitting on his porch swing, sipping sweet tea and laughing at our puny attempts to make sense of a world that's fundamentally nonsensical. It's like maybe the joke's on us, you know? Maybe the numbers are just laughing behind our backs like those emus of Uncle Gary with their beady eyes and their knowing smiles, waiting for the hurricane to roll through and wash away all our fancy illusions of control, leaving us stranded on the beach of absurdity, picking seaweed out of our teeth and wondering why the hell we ever thought we could spell in the first place. And then somebody yells that guy is racist. I am going to leave that right there. You know, growing up back home, my cousin Earl, bless his heart, thought mayonnaise was a spicy condiment. Like, that's the level we're dealing with, all right? Anyways, I was thinking about this fellow Mark Norman, right? Comedian, been on Conan 5 times, which is impressive because I can barely get my dog to sit still for 5 seconds, let alone get booked on Conan. He was talking about how Conan's the best because he can tell Muslim and Native American jokes because it's cable. And I'm sitting here thinking, man, that's like comparing a firecracker to a stick of dynamite, you know? Then he goes on about how he opened for Amy Schumer and how one joke, just one little old joke, got him the gig, kind of like how one wrong turn in Louisiana can land you in a swamp full of gators. He watched her go from playing to 25 folks at the Schaumburg Improv. Sounds like my first gig at a VFW hall where the only audience was a bingo caller and a guy napping, straight up to Madison Square Garden in private jets. I mean, that's faster than a politician changing their mind, I tell you what. Then he's talking about Twitter and how he just sits on the toilet and tweets stuff, and I'm like, man, that's genius. Because ain't that where all the best ideas come? Sitting on the porcelain throne, contemplating the mysteries of life, like why do we put pineapple on pizza? He said kickball leagues are the original sad way to meet people before online dating. That is gold, pure gold. Makes you think about all them lonely hearts kicking a ball around, hoping to find love, kind of like them catfish swimming upstream during mating season, just searching for a connection. New Orleans, that's where he's from, and he gets mugged 3 times in New York. I mean, talk about a culture shock. That's like going from eating crawfish etouffee to a kale smoothie, just a whole different world. Landlord died of AIDS, bed bugs, the whole shebang. I mean, that's a country song waiting to happen. He wakes up with a guy's hand in his pocket. Reminds me of this one time when I was on a Greyhound bus and I woke up with a squirrel sleeping on my head. I swear, it is the dangest thing. But yeah, life's a wild ride, ain't it? One minute you're eating ribs with Warren Buffett, and the next you're doting bedbugs in a New York apartment. It's just like a rodeo clown trying to avoid a charging bull. You just got to stay on your toes, keep laughing, and hope you don't end up with a squirrel in your hair. All right. So I was thinking the other day, because, you know, I do that sometimes, mostly when I'm looking at my neighbor's chihuahua, and that little dude just stares into your soul like he knows all your secrets, like he knows about that time I tried to make moonshine in my bathtub. Don't judge. Times were tough, okay? But anyways, I was thinking, women don't hit on men enough. Like, they really got to step up their game because, guys, we're basically just big, dumb, lovable golden retrievers. You throw us a compliment, we'll fetch it, bury it, and then dig it up and bring it back to you a week later, wagging our tails like it's the best damn thing we ever found. I mean, I had this old lady one time, bless her heart, she comes up to me and says, ooh, I'm going to kidnap you. And I'm thinking, wow, you know, if I said that to a woman, I'd be on the news. They'd be looking for me with dogs and helicopters, and they'd probably find my still too. But seriously, what could a woman even say to offend me? Like, all right, I'm going to take you home, drug you, and take advantage of you while filming it. And I'd probably be like, okay, but at least let me Venmo you for the Uber, because that's just how we are. We're simple creatures, easily entertained, easily confused, and apparently easily kidnapped, which brings me to this comic, Mark Norman, New Orleans native. Now he's up in New York, probably missing the crawfish boils and the casual racism, you know how it is down there. But this guy, they say he was a bedwetter as a kid, which, let me tell you, that's a rough go. I mean, I knew a kid who wet the bed until he was like 16, and we called him the Reservoir, and he hated it. But also, secretly, I think he was kind of proud of it. You know, but Mark Norman, he's taken the comedy scene by storm. He's at Side Splitters this weekend, and they're teasing on how self-deprecating he is, which I love because if a comic ain't making fun of himself, he's probably making fun of the audience. and no one likes that. He apparently had to change mattresses as a kid, which if you've never had to flip a mattress over because it was too far gone, you haven't lived. It's like looking at the rings of a tree, but instead of growth, it's shame. This guy grew up in New Orleans, which that place is a different animal. It's like a fever dream you have after eating too much gumbo. All my friends down there, they're pieces of garbage, doing nothing. And I love them for it. You go back there, you fall right back into it, having cocktails at 9 a.m., chasing alligators. I'm pretty sure that's code for something, probably drugs, but who am I to judge? It's like it's stuck in the past. I think that's how people like it. I mean, you can go there, you kick back, you say a racial slur, and you get a margarita in a good way. Of course, and the best part is no one gets mad about it. Everyone's too drunk to care. They're bringing up the Nike ad and all the hullabaloo that's surrounding it. Mark just throws jokes out there, and that's how it should be. No agenda. Just funny. Like he said, every new Nike should come with one knee pad, which I gotta admit, that's pretty damn clever. It's like a fortune cookie, but instead of wisdom, it's just a mild burn. That's the sweet spot. You know, they say his podcast is filthy. It's called Tuesdays with Stories. Him and his buddy Joe List, they go on the road, do their gigs, then they come back and spill all the beans. Who they had sex with, who got heckled, who did drugs. It's like a public confessional, but with more dick jokes. So you gotta up your game in every city, man. And they're talking about how weird they are. All comics are degenerates, weirdos, creeps, drunks. They need each other. They're like pirates. If they worked in a real professional setting, they'd get fired and Me Too'd in like 5 minutes, so they gotta stick together. That's why it's fun. And they're analyzing and weird. And I gotta say, me too. I remember the first time I found out that crabs weren't just something you ate, but something you could get. It blew my mind, especially since I got them both ways that night. So growing up in Louisiana, we had this dude, right? Called him Toe Jam Tony because he never wore shoes, even to church, which, you know, in the South, that's a bold statement, like showing up to Thanksgiving without gravy. You know, anyway, Toe Jam Tony, he was obsessed with like canceling squirrels from his yard, which is kind of like what's happening now with this whole X thing. Because let's be real, nobody's really happy there anymore. It's like that one bar you keep going to, even though the bartender's always rude and the beer's warm. Trying to cancel somebody on X feels like trying to herd cats with a rusty rake. I mean, Twitter, I mean, X, whatever, it's been a tool for folks trying to ruin people, not just entertainers, but academics too. People I know, careers gone because of a EA, which is wild because it's like, if a tweet can take you down, are you even really standing to begin with? Then universities, they want you on there, be part of the conversation, they say, but it's like telling a kid to go play in traffic because it's good exposure. Makes no dang sense, right? Reminds me of that time I met Elon Musk. Nice fella, endorsed me in 22, which is like getting a thumbs up from a robot, but I'll take it. Got to tour SpaceX, hung out with him and Grimes, which felt like being in a sci-fi movie where the special effects are all real, but then you hear about Epstein and you're like, oh, Lord Jesus, what am I even doing with my life? Like if Epstein had offered me a ride on his plane back then, I would have said yes, and I think we all would have. I mean, before it was a national nightmare, back then I was just a dude trying to get a free ride, you know? But now looking back, I'm grateful I missed that party, kind of like missing a hurricane by a mile. And it is funny, like telling Dave Chappelle I bought a ticket to his show at Radio City, and now we're hanging in Iowa. That must be how them folks in Iowa felt with Andrew Yang voted for him for mayor, and now you are hanging out together. It is wild. But speaking of Andrew Yang, Asians are having a moment, right? It's like Ali Wong, Joe Coy, Squid Game, Parasite, Asian Shogun on TV. Strike while the samurai sword is hot. I say, it's their time. It's Andrew Yang's time. It's everybody's time. Like, I'm literally watching them in these shows, texting them like, hey man, you're great in this. Watched Shogun last night. Pretty good. Japanese Game of Thrones, kind of like if Kurosawa had directed an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Wait a minute, that might be an idea for a show. All right. Guadalajara, huh? Sounds exotic. Like a chihuahua and a tiny sombrero. But let me tell ya, that airport, man, that's where the real drama unfolds, like a telenovela with more bureaucracy and less attractive people. See, I'm standing there looking like a confused golden retriever in a mariachi band trying to scan my passport, right? This machine's screaming, no bueno, no comprendo. You look suspicious in robot Spanish. I'm thinking, damn, this is like trying to teach a goat to salsa dance. Pure frustration. But then this customs dude, he's got the patience of a caffeinated squirrel, just yelling, scan it, like I'm purposely messing with his siesta. Turns out the machine's busted, but he assumes I'm just another gringo who can't operate a toaster oven, let alone a passport scanner, like I'm a possum playing Dead the Road of international travel. So finally gets it fixed, they let me through, but then bam, random check my ass with these eyebrows. Random is about as likely as finding a vegan at a Texas barbecue. These puppies are like two caterpillars doing the tango on my forehead. They practically scream international smuggler. And speaking of eyebrows, my barber, bless his heart, used to ask before he attacked him with the comb and the trimmers. Now he just goes to town like he's sculpting a bonsai tree on my face. No consent. Just bam. Hair's gone like it was raptured. Just praying you don't find any ear hair because that's a one-way ticket to acceptance of middle age, like finding out your hairline's retreating faster than the tide in the Bay of Fundy. Anyway, Guadalajara killer crowd understands my jokes about Biden and Taylor Swift. They're practically fluent in American pop culture, probably know more about the Kardashians than I do. It's wild. Then walking down the street, feeling good. Maybe had a tequila or three, feeling like a cowboy in a spaghetti western. And this dude, white dude, San Francisco transplant, runs up on me like he's seen a unicorn. Hey, you from the show? Come to my bar? So I figure, why not? Turns out he's living the expat dream, opened a bar, getting laid, making bank, escaped Berkeley's wokeness for Guadalajara's, whatever they got, says he's never going back. Like he's found the promised land, only he's 25, feels like he just stepped out of a Jimmy Buffett song, only with less sunscreen and more tequila. Offers me some blow, which thanks but no thanks, and I head back to the hotel getting bombarded with DMs from locals. Dude, shoulda come out. Nightclub's crazy, 6 girls. I'm thinking, nah, I dodged a bullet, like escaping a swarm of mosquitoes in a Louisiana swamp. Sometimes it's just better to stay inside.
Crank tequila.
Had street tacos, felt like a king throwing pesos around like I'm Oprah giving away cars. You get a taco, and you get a taco, and you get a taco. Guadalajara's got grit, man, real grit. Feels like you dropped into the heart of Mexico. Feels as authentically loco as a Baptist church service meets a monster truck rally. And maybe I'll move some tickets, spread the Theo Von gospel, see if they appreciate a little bit of Louisiana swamp trash talking about life, the universe, and eyebrow management. Because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to find our Guadalajara, a place where our passport works, our eyebrows are respected, and the tacos are cheap. Ain't that the truth? Man, it reminds me of my cousin Earl. Used to live down by the creek. Only ate fried bologna and thought wrestling was real, always hollering about America after chugging an M2 the size of his head. Anyway, Earl once tried to blow up a beaver dam with dynamite he borrowed from the quarry, said it was for freedom or something, got all the neighbors riled up, yelling about property rights and the damn commies, you know how it is. The point is, Earl, like, this whole schmealing, getting wrecked thing, thought he knew explosives, thought he was doing what was right, but looking at that beaver dam afterwards, or that building blown outward, you just gotta wonder, was it really the beaver, or schmealing, or was it something else entirely, something bigger? Like maybe we're all just monkeys with dynamite thinking we're building something when we're really just making a big messy bang, and then we stand back covered in mud and sawdust yelling about freedom while the fat lady down the street shakes her head and says, Lord have mercy. Earl done it again, and sometimes I think she's right, sometimes I think we all done it, Ed, and whatever it even is, just a bunch of pastrami loving, Jack Reacher quoting gorillas blowing up beaver dams in the name of, well, I ain't quite sure what, but it sure ain't quiet. All right, so let me tell you about my cousin Billy Bob, bless his heart. Always had a thing for, well, let's just say inanimate objects, like the time he tried to elope with the mannequin from the Sears, claimed she understood him better than Aunt Tammy ever did. Bless her cotton sock. That's kind of how I felt showing up in Reykjavik, right? Heard all this hype, this Sin City talk, like Trump himself was going to be grilling reindeer burgers with Thor, and then bam, it's cleaner than my grandma's dentures, and everyone's blonde like a field of wheat dipped in sunshine. I mean, where the heck is the party? It's like showing up to a rodeo and finding out they only ride Shetland ponies. Cute, but not exactly bucking you off, and then I ask about the local cuisine, and they're like, hot dogs. I'm thinking Michelin star, maybe some fancy fermented shark jerky. And they hit me with a damn hot dog like Bill Clinton himself didn't eat enough processed meat in his day, and they even got rid of McDonald's, replaced it with Metro Burger. Sounds like some woke hipster trying to pass for a cowboy, just feels trans, like there's a wiener hiding in there somewhere. All All right, I'm just saying, Iceland, you're sitting pretty clean as a whistle. No trash, no graffiti, like my Aunt Carol after she's had 3 Chardonnays, prime and proper. But is there any spice? I mean, my cousin Billy Bob had more spice trying to convince that mannequin to say I do than this whole darn town. But hey, maybe that's the secret. Maybe sometimes clean and simple is all you need, just like a good hot dog, even if it is from Iceland and probably blessed by a Viking. All right, so picture this. I'm back in Louisiana, right? About knee-high to a mud hen, and my Uncle Earl, bless his heart, he was convinced he could talk to squirrels, not just like, hey, squirrel, but full-on conversations, arguments even. He'd be out there in his overalls, yelling about acorns or something, swearing they were scheming to steal his pecans, and I'm standing there thinking, Uncle Earl, you need Jesus and maybe a therapist. And some pants that ain't got holes in the knees? Anyway. That reminds me of this Uniqlo thing, see, because it's like you're trying to figure out the Irish motives, but really it's simpler than you think. I'm in New York, right, Soho, fancy pants district, and I needed a zip-up, a little puffy jacket, one of them things that makes you look like a Michelin man but keeps you warm when the wind's howling like a hound dog on a full moon. My old one got lifted probably by some homeless dude who needed it more than I did, so I ain't even mad. So I walk into Uniqlo feeling like a catfish out of water, surrounded by these skinny jeans and overpriced t-shirts, and I see this jacket, perfect color, perfect size, reasonably priced, like they say. Now, I'm not going to lie, I've been known to shoplift a thing or two in my day. Don't judge me, y'all. Sometimes a fella just needs a little thrill, you know? It's like riding a roller coaster, but with more consequences. So I grab this jacket, try it on, feels good, but then I see this sweater. A nice plain black sweater, nothing fancy, but something I could wear on Conan, maybe get a little extra something out of the experience for the podcast. Now, here's the thing. I'm not trying to be a bad guy. I ain't robbing no banks or nothing. I'm just opportunistic like a raccoon in a dumpster. So I put on the sweater right there in the hallway, brazen as a badger in broad daylight. Then I throw the jacket over it, walk up to the cashier, pay for the jacket, and stroll out like I own the place. If they catch me, I'll just say, oops, I forgot, my bad, and pay for the sweater. No harm, no foul. It's like playing poker. You got to be willing to bluff, but you also got to be ready to fold. My girl, she ain't impressed. She's like, Mark, you're 38 years old, get a life, but she don't understand. It's not about the money. It's about the game. It's about outsmarting the system, even if the system is just a Japanese clothing store. And hey, if I get caught, at least I'll have a good story for the podcast, right? But don't tell Uniqlo I might need to steal some socks next week. It's all just one big game, like Uncle Earl and them squirrels, except I ain't arguing with no rodents yet. I'd say the whole experience gave me a similar feeling as going to the airport and seeing those old ladies stealing batteries. I mean, I tell you what, I was just thinking about my old hound dog, Blue, back in Louisiana. That dog was so old, he remembered when dirt was new, bless his heart. Anyway, it kind of reminds me of this Sex and the City thing, you know? Like, I remember when that show was something real firecracker. Now they got this new one, right? And it's like watching a possum play dead. It's just awkward. They're going to be apologizing for that mess in a year, I swear. There's a difference between them jokes that cross the line and this content, man. It's like microwaved grits, just bland and sad. I'd rather be called a bigot than put out something this cringe. Even Chris Knott was probably glad they wrote him off early. That's how bad it is. And the transparency, Lord have mercy. It's like they think we're all dumb as a box of rocks. Oh, we didn't have any minorities for 10 years. Now everybody's hooking up with a non-white best friend. And the kids are all questioning their gender. And Miranda, bless her heart, she used to be the smart one. Now she's just chasing skirts and telling her husband to kick rocks. I tapped out halfway through the first episode. I just couldn't stomach it. They hate men, but they want to worship women who act like him. It's like a dog chasing its tail. The writing's so bad, even a coonhound could sniff out the stink. I used to watch the old Sex and the City on the road, you know, like a comfort blanket when I was stuck in some motel in Florida. Missing New York, all them brownstones and Sarah Jessica Parker living in the village. I could see her house all day. She's one of us. That woman's a real New Yorker. But this new show, man, the way they talk about Samantha is the funniest thing I ever seen. Oh, sometimes you lose touch with folks. Yeah, right. More like sometimes your agent wants more money. That's the realest plot point in the whole darn thing, ain't it? It's like Mulaney say, you can have Ocean's 11 with dudes, but you can't have it with women, 'cause 4 of them would be too busy talking smack about the other 6. And then they go and cut out the funniest character, the one with the dirty jokes. It's like taking the yeast out of the bread. What's left is just sad biscuit dough. And that begs the big question, who was the hottest? Samantha, probably, 'cause she was the sluttiest and the funniest. She had that little something something, you know, Me, I always had a soft spot for SJP, that crazy mug, that freewheeling attitude, that wild hair. She's got something special. And then there's Aiden. I was an Aiden guy. He was just a stand-up dude. Who do we be talking about this on the podcast, though? Just proves we ain't got no sense. If the show is good, it's good, even if it's cheesy sometimes. It's like a gas station burrito. It still hits the spot. But Charlotte, bless her heart, good-looking lady on paper, but she ain't doing nothing in the bedroom. She's a boring Christian. I met her once, the actress, not the character. I was in 8th grade, coming from basketball practice in my uniform, and I saw her in a diner. I went up to her all nervous, and I said, I watch your show all the time. And she goes, no, you don't. You're too young. So I looked her dead in the eye and said, yeah, then how come I know your husband can't get it up? The whole diner erupted in laughter. I got a real chuckle at her. She's like, look at this one-browed hormonal freak in basketball shorts trying to be funny. It was like that time my cousin Earl tried to wrestle a gator, a total train wreck, but she just couldn't look away. All right, so I was down in Tickfaw, Louisiana, right? Smallest town you ever did see. Like if Mayberry and a mosquito had a baby, that's Tickfaw. We had a gas station, and the guy who ran it, Earl, swore he saw Bigfoot wearing a Saints jersey, said he was buying lotto tickets. Earl was also missing 2 teeth and claimed he wrestled a gator once. So you got to take it with a grain of salt, you know, like a margarita at a divorce party. Anyway, reminds me of this fella I met in Minnesota where I'm at now, land of 10,000 lakes, and apparently a whole lot of ghosts, just like my mama used to say about Louisiana. And this girl, Elise, right here, says she believes in him, seen stuff moving in the night. Not like Earl's Bigfoot moving into a new swamp, but actual ghosty movement. And her friend here backs her up, says she heard footsteps, probably Bigfoot sneakily learning the 2-step in the attic. Which brings me to this other fella, scared to look at the girls in the audience, especially his son's girlfriend. Now that's a tightrope walk right there, like balancing a plate of fried pickles at a NASCAR race. I mean, the son's working at McDonald's, slinging McDoubles. Could have been here next to a McDouble D. Damn it. I missed that one. Should have leaned into the McDouble D joke. Sometimes my brain's like a squirrel on meth, just barely clinging on. So this guy's not looking because he's polite, or maybe he's just afraid of seeing a ghost in the audience, a ghost with a nice set of, well, you get the picture, or maybe, just maybe he's gone full-blown gay. And now he doesn't even have an excuse, just pure unadulterated Minnesota nice gay. Which, let me tell you, is a whole different level of nice, like a puppy wearing a tiny flannel shirt offering you a hot dish. All right. So let me tell you something about my old hound dog, Blue. Back in Loranger, Louisiana, that old boy had this weird habit. See, he'd only bark at vacuum cleaners, like full-on Cujo mode. Teeth snarling, spittle flying, just for a Hoover. I swear it was like he'd seen the devil himself, trapped in that dusty canister. Now, you might be asking yourself, Theo, what incarnation does a canine's irrational fear of household appliances got to do with anything? And that's where it gets interesting, because it reminds me of this whole comedy scene these days. See, there's this fella named of Matthew Wright, or so they say, strutting around claiming to sling jokes, selling out stadiums, but folks are whispering like that old lady down the street who swears she saw Elvis at the Piggly Wiggly, that this ain't the real deal. That this ain't no comedian, but a carefully crafted concoction of cheekbones and tattoos, something the algorithm coughed up after eating too many likes. They say he got the jawline of a Hemsworth brother, and the kind of eyes that can change lives, even if you don't trust him for a second. And look at that, he is in gay shape, but they accuse him of impersonating a comedian, which, to be fair, is sometimes the same. And they say he's just coasting on crowd work, taking advantage of the fact that he is fine as hell, but that ain't the whole story. You know, because maybe, just maybe, there's something deeper going on, like maybe he spent years hiding in a basement, editing videos till his eyes bled, hoping anybody would give a damn, like maybe there's a real human being behind all that sculpted perfection, a human being with a brand new Netflix special, dropping November 15th, the real deal to be sure. And who knows, maybe old Blue would have barked at that special because sometimes the things we fear most are the things we just don't understand, and sometimes all it takes is a little bit of understanding, and maybe a few more cheekbone fillers to make that vacuum cleaner seem a little less scary. But one thing's for sure, I ain't trusting them eyes. And I sure as hell ain't trusting anyone who thinks they're getting off with just a warning when my wife Franca Leah McQueen Bubble is a fan. All right, so I was back home in Tickfaw, Louisiana, right? Place smaller than my ex-wife's dating pool, which God bless her, is basically a puddle now. But anyway, my buddy Earl, bless his heart, had this pet raccoon, right? Named it President Hayes, don't ask. This raccoon was smarter than half the folks in Tangipahoa Parish, I swear. Earl tried to teach him to play poker using bottle caps. Didn't go well. President Hayes kept trying to eat the ante. Reminded me of Congress. But that got me thinking, see, about names. Like this woman in the audience, right, named her kid Khaleesi. Khaleesi. Like that chick from Game of Thrones who freed all those slaves. I mean, come on. Clarissa, you naming your kid after a fictional dragon queen. What's next? You gonna dress her up in chainmail for Halloween and make her breathe Febreze? That's wilder than a hog eyeing a mud puddle. And then this attorney, this fellow with a $5 haircut and a $1,000 suit, rocking a cowboy hat.
A cowboy hat.
Like he just stepped off the set of Urban Cowboy directed by Wes Anderson. I mean, I love a good hat. I do, but some things just ain't right. It's like a nun at a strip club, which, speaking of strip clubs, this woman owns one. Colorado, which is way more straightforward than Gentleman's Club. Gentleman's Club, that's like calling a possum a marsupial of distinction. It's still going to bite you if you get too close. And our grandma used to work there too as a waitress. Waitress at a strip club, that's like being the librarian at Burning Man. You're fighting an uphill battle, you know. So this kid, Khaleesi, she's 2. Where's her Henner? Probably wishing she'd named her kid Daenerys. Man, I swear, back in Tickfall, Louisiana, my Aunt Shirley, bless her heart, she had this chihuahua named Napoleon, thought he was a damn Rottweiler. Always yapping at the mailman. Same kind of energy I'm getting here with this fella, telling Ali Wong how to style her like, buddy, you look like a thumb wrestling champion. You ain't giving nobody fashion advice, you hear? And this whole meet cute on Bumble thing, it's wild. Reminds me of that time my cousin Daryl met his wife at a monster truck rally. She was selling funnel cakes out of the back of a El Camino. Said she fell in love with his mullet and the smell of motor oil. True story, but this tiger cub business, now that's a whole different level of bonkers. That's like finding a unicorn at a Waffle House at 3 a.m. Just don't seem right, you know? And this whole age guessing with Asian folks, I get it. It's like trying to tell the difference between a cicada and a locust. They all just sound the same after a while. But dang, gotta be careful with those stereotypes. You end up sounding like a parrot that only knows how to squawk racial slurs. Ain't nobody got time for that. But this pussy looks like funnel cake comment. That's just poetic in a weird backwoods kind of way. Like something you'd hear a possum say after chugging a gallon of moonshine. And the roses, man. Everybody's got roses, but it's what you do with them. Right? Some folks make jam, some folks stick 'em in a vase, but this lady here, she's turning 'em into a dang ecosystem. Even if, according to this Yahoo, it still smells like marble. Which I gotta be honest, I ain't never smelled marble, but I bet it smells a whole lot better than Napoleon's breath after he's been gnawed on a rawhide bone, and that, my friends, is a fact. Man, it reminds me of the time my cousin Earl tried to ride a llama at the county fair. Thought he was going to be a rodeo star, but that llama, bless its heart, just sat down and started munching on Earl's overalls. And Earl, well, he just started crying, yelling about how he was going to be a plumber instead, which brings me to security. See, because Earl needed some serious security around that llama. Just like I apparently need security against dudes rushing the stage, especially when they look like they just escaped from a Vegemite commercial in Australia. I mean, nobody's ever rushed me before, not even when I told that joke about the squirrel and the taxidermist, which, by the way, still slays in Biloxi. So this dude comes at me full speed like a catfish chasing a nightcrawler. And my first thought is, do I gotta wrestle this fella? Then I'm thinking, is this guy from Tulsa? Because I owe some fellas in Tulsa some money. Then it's like, oh Lord, I'm gonna be on World Star. But then the security guys show up slower than molasses in January and tackle him like they're auditioning for the Chicago Bears, which, hey, good for them, but I could have been stabbed. I could have been talking to Jesus by now about that squirrel joke. Turns out the dude just wanted to give me a hug because he's the godfather to the other dude's son, which is a plot twist worthy of a Lifetime movie starring Dolly Parton. So the guy basically gave the stage security a gift basket and a middle finger at the same time, all the while that the seat costs as much as a used tractor. And then they bring a dog. What in the Sam Hill is going on with that dog? I mean, Is he there to sniff out my bad jokes or what? I'm thinking I should just hire that llama from the county fair and have Earl babysit him and watch out for people looking for hugs. Because at this point, I'm pretty sure the llama would be a better security detail. But seriously though, this whole thing makes you wonder, what if all our problems could be solved with a hug? Maybe even Earl's llama problem. So growing up in Louisiana, we had this dog, right? Old Blue, bless his heart, dumbest creature God ever put on this planet. I swear he thought a vacuum cleaner was a demoness to steal his soul. Would bark at it for hours, foaming at the mouth like he'd seen a ghost. And sometimes I felt bad for him, like, man, being that scared of a machine, that's got to be rough, kind of like these folks who are terrified of progress. It's like, relax, the world ain't gonna bite you unless you're blue and it's a Roomba, then yeah, maybe it will. But anyways, it got me thinking about bravery, seeing someone like Tay Diggs show up at Matt Wright's show. That takes a certain kind of grit, like showing up to a cockfight in a chicken costume. You're making a statement, and I respect that. It's like, here's a dude, famous, successful, doesn't need to be there, but he is, because he sees something in Matt, sees that spark, that potential, that undeniable talent that's kind of like a gassy baby. You can't ignore it. See, it reminds me of my mama. Bless her soul. She always said, boy, find the weirdos. They're the ones worth a damn. And folks like Matt, they're weirdos in the best way. They're honest. They're real. They're not afraid to say what everyone else is thinking, but too scared to admit. And that's why people connect with them. It's that vulnerability, that rawness, like watching a baby giraffe try to walk for the first time. It's awkward. It's clumsy. But you can't help but root for the damn thing, It's that unapologetic nature, that refusal to conform. That's what makes them special, like a three-legged dog at a dog show. They might not win, but they sure as hell gonna steal the show, and that's the kind of thing that really sticks with you and reminds you to get out there and just be you, no matter how dumb Old Blue thought you were acting. Man, growing up in Tickfall, Louisiana, I felt like living inside a mayonnaise jar. Everything was kind of thick and coated. Like my Uncle Earl, bless his heart, he once tried to build a boat out of chicken wire and duct tape, swore it'd float because air's lighter than water. Theo, that's the kind of logic we were working with back home, pure uncut country math, but it got me thinking about, like, business, right? Like, you got your best friend, your ride or die, you feeling like Tom Cruise in Cocktail, just slinging drinks and good vibes. You're all best day of my life. Even if they'll holding something weird like life, that's where Maya comes in. She's your architect. The Tom Hanks in that film where he got that woman and that ball, Maya's got that. But then, boom, chaos. Somebody's drinking too much coffee. You haven't striked yet, like those Hollywood folks. People are decapitating clients. Armando's showing up unannounced, and suddenly you're in a car chase directed by a caffeinated squirrel. Exit ramps are being missed, and you're yelling stupid. Not at anyone in particular, but at the whole damn situation. You gotta get your wine, build Lego. It's like my grandma used to say, life's a garden, dig it. But now it's like life is a Lego, dig it and get stressed. Then you got Sonny trying to drop an album, turning young black kids into urban beekeepers. Sounds like a damn movie pitch right there. A country dude named Dorrit. Yeah, Dorrit with 2 T's is your Sam, trying to get that shot, but you're thinking, are we ever going to survive? When really, sometimes you just got to get home, play that damn saxophone like a possum playing a kazoo, and realize life's messy, it's stupid, but at least you got a story to tell that's about as funny and crooked as a 3-legged dog. Right. Settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. It reminds me of my Uncle Skeeter, God rest his soul. Skeeter used to swear he could smell a storm coming from 3 counties away. Just by the way the cicadas were humming, said it was a special frequency only he could pick up. And Skeeter was wrong 99% of the time. But that one time he was right, saved us all from a tornado. Felt like a dang superhero. But anyway, that ain't the point. The point is Skeeter had his own way of reading the world, just like this lady Ashley. She's got her own kind of radar, gaydar maybe, only it's laser focused on saunas. Apparently, in the etiquette of water on rocks. I mean, who knew? Like, is that a come hither look in Finland or what? I wouldn't know. I'm too busy trying to figure out if microwaving a Hot Pocket is a cry for help, but this got me thinking, what even is a signal, a sign? Like back in Louisiana, if someone offered you sweet tea, it meant they were probably related to you somehow, like genetically. Turns out you share blood with half the population of that dang state, but Ashley ain't out there looking for signals. She's a grown woman. Stuff just finds her, which, honestly, relatable. Like when you open a bag of bar-baked chips at a family reunion, suddenly everybody wants a piece, but then she starts talking about scissoring, and I ain't talking about arts and crafts. Y'all know what I mean. Suddenly, we're deep into apps and Walmarts and church socials as places to find love, or at least someone to swipe right on. It's like hunting for a unicorn, but in sweatpants. and a face mask. And then Ashley drops the bomb that she just sleeps with coworkers, which dang brave woman. That's like playing Russian roulette with HR, but she's out here living her truth on a softball team. And then this dude with autism chimes in with constellation talk, which, let's be honest, sounds like a fancy way of saying stars and black holes and all sorts of astronomical romance. I'm lost. Feels like trying to navigate a Walmart parking lot on Christmas Eve, and then things get real dark real fast. Ashley's talking about WNBA games and calling a male player a black hole for not passing the ball. And I'm thinking that's harsh, but also kind of accurate. And somehow this leads to a whole dang debate about the color of a vagina, which, I gotta say, never thought I'd hear that on stage, folks, but here we are. Turns out Ashley was a medical assistant, so she's basically a certified expert on lady parts, and she's insisting it's black in there like a deep, dark cave of mystery. And then she starts making jokes about peeing herself, which is just peak honesty, I swear. Like, oh, I had kids, what do you want from me? And then she's drawing lines saying she can't eat people that have given birth, and all this leads to saying she is with a golden gay. So no package deal for Ashley. Dang, it's like trying to understand modern art. Just when you think you've got a handle on it, someone throws a banana at the wall and you're back to square one. But then comes the real heart of it. Ashley talking about her daughter coming out, disappearing to college, thinking her mama wouldn't approve. And Ashley's like, come on back to Atlanta, honey. Everybody eats here. And that's it, y'all. That's the whole dang thing. Acceptance, love, and a whole lot of weirdness in between. It's like a swamp. Ugly, messy, full of surprises, but also beautiful in its own strange way. And she finishes by saying, Haitians eat the cat, Lord have mercy. So, growing up in Louisiana, right, we had this lady, Miss Loretta, bless her heart, looked like a thumb wrestling champion who'd lost every match. Bless her heart, and she swore she could tack squirrels. I'm talking full-on conversations, like she was fluent in Nutty Professor, and that reminds me of something else. But anyway, Miss Loretta, she was all about finding the music and everything. Said even a rusty mailbox screaming open was a blues song. A rural route holler, she called it, which is kind of like what this guy, Mr. Music, is getting out with this whole music everywhere thing. You know, like he's got this clarinet, the skinny trumpet looking thing, but he's saying instruments are kind of dumb. Like there's music bursting out of the seams of life itself. Like when you're tapping a pen on some paperback romance novel, trying to drown out the sound of your cousin Earl breathing heavy next to you on the Greyhound. Subtly, you know. Or when you toss a dress shirt in a laundry sack, that thump that's the bass line to your life. Or even that pudding cup symphony scooping out the vanilla sadness with a plastic spoon, making that squishy sound like a butt. But he is even doing it wrong. He makes the noise over it. Like sometimes when you tell a joke, it's got to be organic. And listen to him when he talks about music. So ignorant. Haha. Yeah, the Bordeaux swirl, that's a high society banjo riff, and if you accidentally shatter the bottle, that's just a punk rock encore, but he broke the bottle. Good stuff, and he stays up late. He should be prepped. Leaky false sickle, drip drip drums. Fix this, the point is. The toilet flushes or jumps up on your Tempur-Pedic bed and tap dance. Mama said not to make a pee. The head landed on the ankle weird. Kinda like when I tried to wrestle a gator in the canal, thought I could make some music with its tail, but it ended up sounding like a trip to the emergency room and the man failed. But is just trying to teach us that music can come from lots of things that aren't instruments, like I stayed up late trying on clothes I already own, and now I'm standing here in front of y'all realizing that the music isn't even something you can play. Sometimes it's just the sound of me admitting I'm a dang fool who needs to learn to leave the gators alone and let Ms. Loretta have her squirrel conversations in peace. Maybe that's a good song for a country song about all of us. Music here, music there, Mr. Music, what you did was really funny. Watch you run around, don't judge you, don't care, nobody cares, everybody sing. Game day, topics. Scared, look for music, thank you, no, I want this, yeah. All right, check it. So I went to see Dr. Miller the other day, and y'all know I ain't got no insurance, right? So I'm thinking, okay, Theo, just a little checkup, see if that possum living in your gut finally died or something, because that's how it feels sometimes, you know. Deep down, though, I knew you weren't going to say, boy, you a specimen. Built like a brick shithouse, son. Perfect in every way. That ain't never happened, never will, but I at least expected some common decency. Something like that time my Aunt Shirley tried to set me up with her taxidermied cat. Weird but polite, you feel me? Instead, this dude walks in looking like a badger chewed him out and spit him back and gets right up in my grill. Usually they do that, oh, interesting thing when you tell him you were helping your buddy Dwayne move a piano made of concrete, but this guy, he just wanted to stick needles in me, I swear. So there I am sitting on that crinkly paper on the exam table, legs dangling like a toddler trying to climb a damn tree, feeling all awkward and vulnerable. Doc comes in, nope. Hey, no howdy, just points at my head like I owe him money. You want something for your hair? He barks. I'm thinking, is this a trick? Is he selling Rogaine out of his trunk? Ha! I say real confused. Has nobody told you your rare's fallen out? He says like he just delivered a winning lottery ticket, but for baldness. I mean, damn, Doc, ease into it, you know? Like whispering sweet nothings to a feral dog before you try to pet it. Then he dramatically rips my chart out of the holder, making that tring noise that echoes in the halls and goes, wow, wow. Like he's staring at a Bigfoot photo or something. I'm like, wow, I got the bubonic plague or what? Turns out, according to him, I weigh a small car more than last time I saw him. Not exactly what I would call weight loss, he sneers. Are we doing a roast in here, Doc? Is Jeff Foxworthy going to jump out? Then comes the kicker. You're the fattest patient I've seen all day. Now, mind you, it's 9:30 in the morning. I tell him that, he just shrugs and goes, still. Then he starts talking about my blood work, something about muscle enzymes through the roof. Yeah, I'm like, hell yeah, Doc. I'm strong as an ox. What's the problem? They're off the charts, he exclaims. I puff out my chest, feeling proud. Even better. Probably your strongest patient, but apparently that ain't good either. He says it's either I'm an Olympic athlete or a cocaine addict. I ain't never touched the stuff. I'm your doctor. You can be honest, he hisses. I'm like, Doc, ain't cokehead supposed to be skinny? Like Skeletor. The nurse, bless her heart, tries to save me, suggesting maybe I run marathons or something, but the doc just scoffs and gestures at my gut. At this point, I'm about to hit him with the I'm out of here move, but he stops me. Do you have a ring on your finger, he asks. Yeah, I say married. Yep, then comes the zinger. To a guy? Y'all know I love my wife. She makes the best damn fried okra this side of the Mississippi. Nope, I say confused. Oh, he replies. I thought you were gay. Like he's disappointed. I ain't bringing the rainbow flag. I'm done, man. Absolutely done. Ready to walk out and find a shaman with better bedside manner, but before I can, he shows me my chart, scribbled in big, bold letters. Gay. And my wife is like, are you ever going back there? And I'm like, are you crazy? That's the funniest son of a bitch I've ever met. He probably writes smells like feet on the chart of that lady with the bunions, too. You gotta love that. So growing up back in Louisiana, we had this dog, Cletus. Bless his heart. Dumb as a box of rocks. But loyal, you know, like a politician to a lobbyist. And Cletus, he'd chase his tail till he threw up. Which now that I think about it, ain't that different from me trying to figure out where I fit in this world. Like trying to parallel park a tractor in a Walmart parking lot on Black Friday. It just ain't gonna happen smooth. You see? Because I'm telling you, most times I feel like I'm tossing my garbage into one of them fancy trash cans. You know, the ones with the hole for recycling, the hole for compost, the hole for regular garbage. And you're standing there sweating, wondering if you just committed a crime against Mother Earth, like putting a banana peel in the wrong damn slot. Which is how I feel trying to navigate this whole human experience. You got folks like Kevin Hart selling out arenas, talking about camel dicks. And here I am just trying to figure out why nobody likes that I'm a vegan who don't drink, and Lord have mercy, weed just makes me want to fight a raccoon for 5 minutes and then pass out like I'm a goddamn narcoleptic grizzly bear. And then there's the whole unmarried at 48 thing, which to some people apparently worse than showing up to a job interview and announcing you hate computers. I mean, telling a woman I don't have kids on the first date is like admitting you collect taxidermied squirrels. It just shuts everything down. Like a government shutdown because somebody couldn't agree on the budget. And I'm not trying to give a press conference here, all right? I just want to tell some jokes without needing 3 microphones perfectly spaced. Like I'm conducting a goddamn symphony of sadness. Or bringing blocks on stage, like I'm a preschool teacher trying to explain the concept of existential dread to a bunch of toddlers. It's like, hey everybody, I brought blocks. Now let me stream on you. May I stream on you? Excuse me, ma'am. Have you been streamed on today? You know, I feel like a Jehovah's Witness, but instead of selling salvation, I'm peddling my Netflix special. And people look at me like I'm trying to sell them a used timeshare in a place that's flooding. And honestly, sometimes I feel like that's exactly what I'm doing. But hey, at least I ain't chasing my tail until I puke, most of the time. So I done moved, y'all. Thanks to you, beautiful, beautiful people. Got myself a house, which is dang near a miracle coming from where I come from, where the only thing bigger than the potholes was mama's stories about the good old days. But this neighborhood, whew, it's fancy, like walking into one of them stores where they offer you cucumber water and you just know your whole paycheck ain't gonna cover a dang doorknob. It's all investment bankers and lawyers, folks who probably think a crawfish boil is some kind of exotic spa treatment. And then there's me showing up like a stray dog at a poodle convention, wondering if they've ever even seen a possum, let alone wrestled one. And when you know it, a real-life, honest-to-goodness former senator lives right there, and everybody's whispering about him like he's Bigfoot or something. So I'm walking my dog, a Chihuahua named Napoleon, who thinks he's a Rottweiler, trying to look like I belong, when the senator himself pops out yelling, "Hey, you the comedian?" And I'm thinking, Lord, here we go. And he starts asking me where the term motherfucker comes from, like I'm some kind of linguistic professor or something. Then he throws in, "How about daughter?" And I'm like, sir, this ain't Craigslist. And even if it was, I wouldn't be caught dead using words like that. He just storms off, leaving me standing there like a scarecrow in a hurricane, wondering if I accidentally wandered into a David Lynch movie. So I'm walking back, trying to forget I ever saw him. When he reappears, says he didn't want things to end like that, and proceeds to give me a whole dissertation on the proper etymology of motherfucker, explaining how it's the ultimate disrespect. And I'm just standing there sweating like a sinner in church, thinking, well, bless your heart, Senate, for enlightening me on the finer points of profanity. I told him I am so impressed that you put that together so quickly. I can see why you may or may not be Ted Cruz, and I just walked away because I couldn't resist, and now I think I might need to move again to somewhere that has gators and moonshine. Man, growing up in Louisiana, we didn't have no Olympics unless you count the annual Grease Pig contest down at the Crawfish Festival, which, let me tell you, is more rote than any decathlon, especially for the pig. But seriously, I once got to hang out with the actual Olympic committee, like full SS, right? We were in the athletes' holding pen before the opening ceremonies, thousands of them decked out in their country's gear like peacocks at a global prom, all taking selfies and vibing. It was wilder than a Waffle House at 3 a.m. We almost walked out with them. Can you imagine? I'd probably be banned for life, but still, that energy, it was like bottled lightning. We even got to roam around Korea a bit, and guess who else was there? David Chang, oh, that culinary wizard. He's a pal, and he was covering the games too. We hit up a Korean barbecue joint. And this place, you pick your meat before you even sit down, like a butcher shop meets a buffet. These folks didn't have a clue who Chang was, right? So he's halfway through the meal and he just starts wandering around, snatching stuff off other tables, grabbing food from counters, just making his own damn culinary symphony at our table. Is that even legal? I don't know, but when you're David Chang, you basically got a hall pass to the whole damn planet. Speaking of partners, me and John Mulaney, yeah, he's my guy, though. I think he might have traded me in for Pete Davidson, which, I mean, can't blame him. That dude's got charisma for days. But Mulaney, he's family, We're doing this weird show, a live read of My Dinner with Andre, that movie where two dudes just jawbone for an hour and a half. It's like peak experimental cinema. Elvis Mitchell roped us into it, and I'm telling you, the audience is going to be split. Half of them think we're going to be eating with Andre the Giant, which, honestly, I'd pay good money to see. But hey, at least I'm not Jimmy Kimmel stuck starving until people click that subscribe button and talk about Olympic level suffering. That's like being a vegan at a barbecue competition in Texas. So I was down at the Piggly Wiggly the other day, right? Now, y'all know Piggly Wiggly. It's like the Walmart of people who still churn butter. Bless their hearts. And I see this dude look like he wrestled alligators in his spare time. Got one leg looking like a road map of West Virginia. The other one smoother than a baby's bottom, right? I'm talking about the difference between a gravel road and a slip and slide. Turns out this fella had tendon transplants, y'all, like he's Frankenstein's monster, but with better insurance. He tells me, right leg, I got a 35-year-old black man's tendons. Now I'm thinking, hold on. Is this like a reverse soul patch situation? Is his right leg going to start wearing flat-brimmed hats and dropping beats? Imagine those legs trying to communicate. One's doing the Charleston. The other's invented a new dance move called the grind, just mortifying the other one at family reunions. He said something else, though, right? He's standing next to this beautiful black couple, and he says, totally off the cuff, he says, he's my dad, which makes me think, what in the deliverance is going on here? This is when he says Magnum, that's my biker name. And I'm picturing him tear-assing around town on a bird scooter, looking like a confused superhero who got lost on the way to Comic-Con. But no, turns out he's riding a Harley. Which, okay, respect, I guess, for a dude with patchwork legs. Anyway, I asked him, how'd you even need the Segri? He says, stepping off a curb like he's auditioning for the world's weakest superhero origin story. I was protecting a woman, so of course I'm expecting a damsel in distress situation, maybe a runaway shopping cart or a rogue squirrel. Turns out some dude was bothering her and he goes into a roundhouse kick. Now I'm envisioning Mr. Miyagi meets Weekend at Bernie's. This dude's leg probably flies off like a Lego set and he hits a tree, and it turns out the guy laughs at him. See? You protect somebody, they laugh at you. You kick them, they call the cops. There's no winning. Anyway, I noticed this dude's wearing a DEA shirt, so naturally I assume he's like a undercover narc who can barely walk. No, it stands for Drug Administration Narcissist, which, I mean, fair enough. We've all met that guy at the family cookout. And this is where it gets weird. He saw the video where I was smoking weed with an old lady, which wasn't me, obviously. That was just a woman queefing. It's a common mix-up. It gets wilder, because turns out his son saw me at the airport and said, I was nice. Which is sweet, but the real kicker, this dude's son is black and adopted, and his ex-wife's remarried some fella who died last May. So the lady who's had a rough go of it is clearly working her way back to Team Cracker, one husband at a time. But it's okay, because everything works out in the end. Man, let me tell you something. My grandma used to say, Theo, that island's like my dentures. Ain't nobody got jurisdiction over him but me. See, this fella's holed up on this island. No extradition. Which sounds like a fancy dance move, but it just means the law can't touch him there. Kind of like trying to wrangle a greased pig at a county fair. You just ain't gonna do it. Makes you wonder, though, if you just drive the getaway car, are you dirty too? Like, did the fella who flew him over there have a getaway plane? I'm just saying, and, you know, he's on the run like a squirrel after a hurricane, but this drug mule thing, now that's some next level crazy. Like having a mule, that's not just having a dealer, that's having a dedicated beast of burden. A literal pack animal for your bad decisions, like telling a mule, I respect your work ethic, and then simultaneously degrading its entire existence. I mean, what a mule do to you? Besides carry stuff up mountains, are they even getting paid vacation? It's like that fella is just sucking stuff up his butt, and the mule's standing there like, what in tarnation does any of this have to do with me and my herniated disc? And to top it off, it's some white fella played in the ins. That's a fall from grace. Uglier than a possum hanging from a power line. Ain't no Cinderella story. It's more like a Cinderfella story. He just keeps shoving stuff in there like he's playing for the championship, taking it to the hole. All right. I'm just saying that's the kind of thing that makes you want to question the price of beef jerky at a truck stop at 3 a.m., you know? Listen here, y'all. Reminds me of the time Mama tried to make moonshine in the bathtub. Thought she was going to be the next Al Capone, but ended up just smelling like fermented peaches for a month. Anyway, this reminds me of the first time I ever had an edible. Felt like my soul done went on vacation without my body. And it all started with Ralphie May, rest his beautiful gravy-loving soul. We was cruising down the West Coast on his tour bus. And Ralphie, bless his heart, he treated weed like it was oxygen. So he offers me one of them Chiba Chews, them heavy-duty edibles, and me being as naive as a newborn calf, I popped one in, thought, how bad could it be? 45 minutes later, I'm pretty sure I'm talking to the squirrels outside the window, thinking they're secret government agents. My body felt like it was made of marshmallows, numb from the roots of my hair down to my toenails. And Ralphie, big old teddy bear, he just chuckles and says, "You okay, Maddie?" I croaked out, "Ralphie, I think I'm seeing colors nobody ever invented yet." Turns out it was 100 milligrams, which now I know is enough to send a small elephant into orbit. Ralphie, bless his heart, he was taking 4 or 5 at a time, but, well, he was a mountain of a man. God rest his soul, so how'd I even meet Ralphie, you ask? Well, pull up a chair, grab a sweet tea, this is a story. It all started in Cleveland, Ohio at Hilarities, which, by the way, is the Cadillac of comedy clubs. If you ain't been, you ain't lived. Seriously, best crowds, best food, and probably a decent gentleman's club nearby. Just saying. I was doing stand-up for about 4 months. Back when Twitter was still the Wild West, you could just add anybody and they'd actually respond. So I added Ralphie, told him I was a nobody comic, want a guest spot, and he said yes, but my mama, bless her heart, she was a warrior. She kept hounding Ralphie with questions like, what time does he need to be there? Do we need to buy tickets? Where are we sitting? Until Ralphie finally said, hold your horses, kid, maybe we'll try this another time. I was crushed, felt like I'd been rejected by Santa Claus himself. Ran to my room, slammed the door, dramatic teenager, and all that jazz. Fast forward a year. Ralphie's doing a theater in Youngstown, Ohio, where my grandparents live, and I figure, third time's the charm. I get there. He pulls up in his tour bus looking like a king coming home, and before I go on stage, he hands me $100 bill, and I, being a polite southern boy, say, no, Ralphie, I can't take that. And he says, go get me some Coke. And my dumbass brain immediately goes, why would I say Coke? I should have said chicken tenders. Nah, he meant Coca-Cola. Bless his soul, he was just looking out. He tells me Sam Kinison gave him $100 bill for his first guest spot, and he wanted to pass it on, make sure I did the same when I got big, which sadly means half the young comics today are gonna Google Sam Kinison and be like, who the heck is that? Anyway, I do my 7-minute of a blast, and about a year later, I'm planning on moving to LA. Ralphie's doing another show in Ohio, and I tell him my plans, and he says, don't go to LA until they're begging you to come, but I didn't listen. Typical, moved out there anyway, booked Wild and Out 6 months later. But before that, when I was couch surfing, eating ramen noodles out of a plastic bag, Ralphie would take me to restaurants for lunch and make me order 6 meals. Eat one now, he'd say, and save the rest for later. He was basically feeding me for the week. Wish he was still here. I got so many stories I'd love to tell him. Remember that, folks. Tell the people you care about that you love them. And sometimes, just sometimes, buy them 6 meals. Even if they only eat 3, it's the thought that counts. And maybe a Coke too if they ask real nice. And that's kind of like life, ain't it? You think you're chasing the spotlight, but sometimes it's the little acts of kindness, the unexpected $100 bills, the extra meals that shine the brightest, just like that time Mama tried to make moonshine. Thought she was going to be famous, turns out she just smelled real fruity, and that's a lesson right there, folks. Sometimes the best stories are the ones that stink a little. All right. So I'm thinking back to Natchitoches, Louisiana, right? My grandma used to make this okra stew. Smelled like a swamp monster's armpit, but tasted like angels crying sweet tea, you know? And it reminds me, people, they're universal okra, ain't they? Like you could be slinging shrimp down in Bangkok, seeing something real rough, but then bam, you catch a glimpse of Brad Pitt on a billboard smiling like he just ate a plate of crawfish etouffee, and you feel a little bit better, a little bit human, right? Even that little kid, tiny dude, no shoes, looking up at Angelina Jolie thinking, Mama, even though she'd probably never seen a shrimp boat in her life, know what I'm saying? So I'm in Philly, right? Filming Untouchable, which ain't about crawfish. Trust me. And I got a day off. Figured I'd heckle James Harden at a Sixers game because, I mean, why not? This dude's got a beard, like a tumbleweed, swallowed a chia pet, and he's having a terrible first quarter. I'm yelling at him like he's stealing my grandma's recipe book while you playing like a scarecrow stuffed with dirty socks. Harden. I even accused him of getting butt injections. I'm talking straight Louisiana truth. See, 'cause that's how we roll. He gets all riled up, says he's gonna cook me, and I'm like, cook me, Harden. Put me in the pot like a big old pot of jambalaya. I'm ready to simmer. I even told him it was unprofessional to be talking to a fan like that. I mean, where's the etiquette these days? Anyway, the dude proceeds to drop 55 points. They beat the Sixers by 30, and with a minute left, he's dribbling, just staring at me with that beard, and goes, tell your team what you did to him. I just yelled back, you shut your mouth. I like your shoes. 'Cause, you know, even hecklers got standards. Plus, I didn't want him coming after me like a raccoon after a bag of beignets. And besides, he of course had to prove he was the real deal in front of the crew. Like he'd just eaten my okra stew and now was ready to take on the whole darn bayou. Man, growing up, we had this neighbor, old Mrs. Higgins, bless her heart. She'd wear a full-on Renaissance fair get up just to get the mail, right? Like velvet and everything. Said it made her feel royal. And you know, that's kind of how I feel about the monarchy. Like they're this national family playing dress up. But dang, you kind of want them to stick around, you know? Maybe that's why I'm hooked on The Crown on Netflix. It's like a flashback to when I was just a little tadpole drooling on my mama's shoulder. But it shows you how miserable being a monarch can actually be, like trapped in a golden cage, right? Makes you see why Harry and Meghan bounced out of there like a jackrabbit from a brush fire. So maybe it ain't so weird after all, just understandable. Like finding a $10 bill in your old jeans, unexpected but welcome. Sure, there's news about it, but not like, say, the presidential election or that whole worldwide cough fest we just had. Felt like everyone was auditioning for a frog choir, didn't it? Look, Seth, I never mind y'all having me on, but next time we got a job out the Windsors, maybe a phone call, huh? Easier than herding cats through a hurricane, trust me, but we'll see if this even makes the cut. Might end up on the internet, like a ghost in the machine. Appreciate the time, though. Always do, and next row watch, I promise, will be laser focused, less like a squirrel chasing a laser pointer, because Lord have mercy, there's just a whole lot of drama swirling around those Windsors, like a catfish in a mud puddle. Like that one student reporter wrote about me once. Thanks for the laughs, even if they're virtual. Feels like my whole life's just a big Zoom call these days. Alrighty then, back after these messages with Amy Adams, and then more atoms. Apparently, we got an atoms convention going on here. So back home in Louisiana, we had this neighbor, right? Oh, Cletus. Cletus swore he was a dog whisperer, but all his whispering involved yelling and throwing aluminum cans. Anyway, he had this mutt, looked like a chihuahua, mated with a dust bunny, and Cletus was convinced this dog could sniff out a good woman from a mile away. He'd say, Theo, boy, a good woman smells like honeysuckle and motor oil, and that dog can smell them both. Reminds me, someone in the crowd said dating's got him anxious, like finding a tick on a coon dog stressful, right? Lady said she's 25, single 4 years. 4 years. That's like a drought in the Sahara of love. Her ex was, she was in college, bragging. Got an industrial engineering degree, which, let's be honest, is less exciting than watching paint dry. That's a -3 before you can order an app. Likes white guys said no to me, because I guess I got that been through the mud kind of vibe. Plus, college, that's like trying to teach a squirrel algebra. Just ain't gonna happen for me. Dated a black guy, cool, respect. Wants 4 kids? Girl, you need a dating app and a damn cloning machine. No gun. For gay. That's like bringing a butter knife to a chainsaw fight. Other guy has amazing chef knives. That's code for I can julienne a carrot in 3 seconds and also intimidate your date. Guaranteed. And then the beanie guy for sure packing. Probably thinks he's in Reservoir Dogs, looking like he's about to hold up a Dairy Queen. And there's the Russian, everyone pulls out their weapons, like the Cold War just thawed out in Scottsdale, turning into Britney Spears. And the lesbians rocking the Megan Rapinoe's only 6 months in, which in lesbian time is like a century. First date was bougie, caviar and whatnot. She's eating pussy before caviar, which is like learn to fly and then being pressed with a ladder. Got to get priorities right there. And then, you know, they fool around, the toys come out, and you just kind of sit there and watch and feeling, you know, utterly and totally unnecessary. Like a third nipple there. No one really needed. Then out comes the little terrier. Then someone shouts wheelchair. Her name is Bianca. I asked if that's how she got in the chair. She did give me an otter keychain. I like otters. What is your favorite animal? Turtles? Turtles? Ah. Have you ever swam with dolphins? Nah. Did you get to fucking ride one? She wishes. All right, well, maybe we can maybe we can set that up. I've got some duct tape, see what I can do. Turtles, I like it.
Dogs are just a good animal.
Except for pugs. Fuck pugs, dude. The pugs look like their owners. Then Bianca tells me she has a pug. I apologize for making fun of pugs. I was saying all that to mess with you. What's usually your type? Tall, dark, and handsome. Dark dating app.
Nah.
We talk about Instagram, Tijuana, and Molly, which is like riding down a gravel road. In the meantime, Bianca, thank you for being such a good surgeon in sport mode. She gets a picture with me. Then the crowd got on me. And so I apologize. I give Bianca her photo. Then it occurs to me that if you are going to spend the rest of your days swimming with dolphins, be a turtle or get a hold of some duct tape, because turtles are kind of beautiful like the dog, you know, like Cletus's dog, but you ain't going to find them in the desert like those dolphins.